This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, September 18th, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. The city of Bloomington is still attempting to expand its borders to the displeasure of a significant amount of Monroe County residents who stand to be annexed, but that matter is tied up with 8 lawsuits. Margaret Clements is president of opposition group County Residents Against Annexation.
First of all, it's the right of the property owners. They have a right to judicial review. The judicial review has to take place following certain steps, and the steps are very disadvantageous to the property owners. There are strict timelines. Everything is designed to be in favor of the city and the annexing authority. And these residents have said, no, it's not in their best interest. They do not want to be annexed, and we would like to help them have their voices heard. Mm-hmm. We think it's important that their voices be heard.
The city plans to move forward with the annexation. A timeline for a resolution, though, is not known. Israel-based Isotopia Molecular Imaging is set to open its first U.S. facility in Westfield. The global pharmaceutical and nuclear medicine manufacturing company plans to invest $20 million to set up its Isotopia USA operation and create up to 50 jobs by the end of 2027. The plant will be used to produce a radioactive medical isotope used in pharmaceuticals for targeted cancer treatment. The Indy Chamber said today it has hired Matt Mindrum as CEO. Mindrum, who has spent his career in marketing positions at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Eli Lilly and Company, and Butler University, is set to begin his new job on December 1st.
I had a chance to build just a ton of great relationships with folks who have worked in and around our civic institutions, certainly the Chamber, where I've been a board member for a few years, but also all of the other civic organizations. Between those relationships and my board experience on the Chamber and on other nonprofit boards, this felt like the right next step, and I'm excited about the impact we can have here and all that we can do to build upon the success the organization's already had.
Mindrum will succeed Michael Huber, who stepped down a year ago after nearly 10 years as CEO of the Indy Chamber, to become Indiana University's vice president for university relations. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita is facing 3 allegations of professional misconduct related to public statements he made about an investigation into Dr. Caitlin Bernard. IIB's Kate Sharon has more.
The Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission filed the 3-count complaint against Rokita on Monday, alleging Rokita's comments about Bernard violated Indiana rules of professional conduct. In the fallout from Roe v. Wade being overturned, Bernard gave an interview to the Indianapolis Star, in which she disclosed that she had performed an abortion on the 10-year-old because the girl could no longer undergo the procedure in her home state. On July 12th, the office notified Bernard that it was opening an investigation into complaints it had received about Bernard. Then, on July 13th, Rokita appeared on Jesse Watters' Primetime on Fox News and discussed Bernard in the Indy Star article. During that interview, Rokita referred to Bernard as, quote, an abortion activist acting as a doctor, with a history of failing to report. Between July and September 2022, the complaint says Rokita continued to make public statements about his office's investigation into Bernard, eventually filing an administrative complaint against her license on November 30th. But because he publicly discussed the investigation before filing the administrative complaint, the commission alleges Rokita violated state law. That violation and his comments on Jesse Watters underpin the alleged violations of the rules of professional conduct. Rokita is seeking a dismissal of the complaint. Kate Sharon, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Ball State University trustees last week reviewed new renderings for a new $60 million performing arts center, which aims to serve as a driver for the growth in the nearby commercial district, The Village. The venue will feature a select service hotel, a main stage theater seating 425 patrons, a smaller black box theater, dressing rooms, a scene and costume shop, and more. University officials say the project could spur $80 million in private investment. Pending approvals, construction is expected to begin in fall 2024 with a targeted completion date of fall 2026. Last week was a big week for Northwest Indiana, with work beginning on a $280 million mixed-use development in downtown Michigan City, as well as a $55 million project in downtown Valparaiso. The work comes as crews head toward a spring 2024 completion of the South Shore Double Track project. Sherry Ziller, CEO of the Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority, said in an interview on Inside Indiana Business Television, it's all part of a region revitalization.
Michigan City is poised for development. It's been very encouraging to watch them and other communities really take advantage of the realignment and expansion of the rail projects and all the development that's coming along with that here in Northwest Indiana.
Michigan City officials are also looking at the redevelopment of the Indiana State Prison site, which will eventually be consolidated into a planned new prison at the site of the Westville Correctional Facility. Ivy Tech President Sue Ellspermann is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.